So hi, good morning, Abhishek Mohan. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for accepting our invitation to be a part of our Next Gen Entrepreneurs Beyond Dream series. And today we are joined in by Abhishek Mohan. He's the co-founder and CEO of HempStreet. And a brief about HempStreet, it's founded in 2019 and is India's first and largest research to retail player in the field of medical cannabis. And they also have a network of 10,000 Ayurvedic practitioners across the country, and the startup aims to tackle the mass ailments in India, starting with a chronic pain epidemic and also menstrual health. And they're doing this by responsibly dispensing the cannabis-based medication. And they also have partnered with the best-in-class practices, and also they are involved in every stage of the supply chain here. So we are really happy to have you with us today, Abhishek, and we'd like to hear more from you about yourself and also your entrepreneurship journey. Please.
Well, thanks for having me. And well, in short, I've been in the startup scene since about 15 years. I've seen several startups from video games to mobile technology
Mhm.
to data center technology to vaccines. Go from from seed to fundraising to public. I also co-founded India's first startup studio. We built
Okay.
37 ventures across 19 sectors.
Mhm.
And while I was there was when I stepped out and built HempStreet. So
Mhm.
I've always been kind of about what's new and upcoming.
Mhm.
And HempStreet essentially was built to tackle the mass ailments that you see in India, especially chronic pain.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. And we see that you have a vast experience already, in on the field and also, in startup arena itself. And what induced you to, focus on this medical cannabis? It was like you did it
So
after proper research or something as in a plan, or it just was a serendipity, or if you can just get some glimpses of your initial induction.
So essentially, friends of mine have gone on and built some of the top medical cannabis companies around the world. So I was quite aware of the developments in that sector and what it was going after. And
Okay.
then, while in the incubator, we were quite heavily focused on healthcare. We incubated
Mm-hmm.
Docquity, which is a social network for doctors in the Rogue Street. So we had a bird's eye, I mean, not a bird's eye view, we had a ringside view to the health issues in India.
Okay.
And as we saw what happened with the opioid crisis in the US and seeing the
Uh-huh.
same thing happen in India,
Mm-hmm.
we realized we needed to do something about it. And
Mm-hmm.
cannabis seemed to have the answers. Then
Okay.
we researched the regulatory environment. We looked at how we could, address those issues. And that's why we're in the business now.
That's great. And also, like when say about the medical cannabis, there could be the initial challenges, right? Getting approval and more. Could you just share some of your experiences? Was it finding the right team or the networking? What was your major challenge, and how did you tackle the same?
I mean, understanding regulatory environment was the first part. Right? It took us
Mm-hmm.
almost a year to figure out how, and we understood that India is actually, through Ayurveda, one of the few federally legal countries in the world for medical
Okay.
cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where it's at, and
Mm-hmm.
we. We started there, then obviously building the team competency around it, the supply chain,
Mm-hmm.
ensuring it was distributed responsibly. The
Mm-hmm.
idea that we wanted to build each part of the value chain in the best way possible, either through
Mm-hmm.
partnerships or by building it from scratch by ourselves. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it was a long process because we decided to try to do everything right.
Okay, okay. And also like about the sourcing, right? Do you have your own like in-house you cultivated, or how is it like, or
No,
you partner with
so
farmers who cultivate it, and then you're just a player intermediary, or you could just
no,
yeah.
cultivation is illegal. Cultivation is
Yeah,
illegal in India.
okay.
So no, so we source directly from the government, from the excise department.
Okay.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
only
Mm-hmm.
way to source. So nobody cultivates, we don't cultivate, and
Okay.
we get our raw material from the government.
Government, okay. And then like yeah, okay. Then you have your internal R&D who work on the medication
So
part
so
and
so we have in Ayurveda we've got some of the top
mm-hmm.
minds working with us in Western cell research. We work with CSIR in Jammu.
Okay.
They're basically the best research
Mm-hmm.
institution in India.
Okay.
And so we partner either with the best. We also partner with MGC Pharma from Australia
Okay.
and UK, who are for their research projects. We partner with Gyneca in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So we are essentially we partner with the best in research, And manufacturing, we basically own the shop floor. We
Mm-hmm.
minutely manage quality. It's
Mm-hmm.
a GMP certified manufacturing unit. So we're very involved in every stage of manufacturing.
Okay,
It's only raw
okay.
material that comes from the government. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Actually, thank you for sharing that, and also like seeing your founding year, like 2019, you founded, and we had this global pandemic. So how it affected, like, was the impact positive, or what were the limitations due to the global pandemic? And if you could just share some experiences from it.
No, it's definitely it was a negative for the world, but in terms
Mm-hmm.
of mindset, I think Ayurveda
Mm-hmm.
quite blossomed in during the pandemic, and that people wanted more sustainable. People wanted to be well,
Right.
but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, being an essential service, we were allowed to operate,
Mm-hmm.
and we grew. Actually, we are a pandemic baby, I would say. We grew,
Okay.
we grew exponentially during the pandemic
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
because the issues that we were going after, which affect
Mm-hmm.
quality of life,
Mm-hmm.
came into focus, and people wanted, something to help them with, like menstrual cramps or chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
So those things were became essentials, and as a result, we were able to grow quite a bit during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. And also coming to the value proposition, right, of your company. Like now we see a lot of hemp or cannabis-based companies, blooming up even in the hygiene space, medication space, and all the phases. Like, what you'd say is your unique value proposition?
I mean, we basically put all our faith in doctors. We're not doctors ourselves. So our
Mm-hmm.
entire focus has been to win the trust of doctors. Today we have a network of 10,000, which
Okay.
is roughly maybe it's several times bigger than
Yeah.
anybody else. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one of our advantages. But second is our focus on the ailments, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we don't go out and pump 100 products. We have 3 products right now, but those
Okay.
three
Okay.
products are aimed at mass ailments. So we are out to solve.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Mm-hmm.
not out to push our products on people. So I
Okay.
think that's why ownership of the ailments and the responsibility to solve them,
Mm-hmm.
and our doctor network, and also our research partnerships, what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing in Israel, in the UK and
Mm-hmm.
Australia and stuff. So I think those are like the ability for us to become a global player. We also won the Biorac Biotech grant for a
Mm-hmm.
transdermal patch that we're
Okay.
developing. We're the first medical cannabis company to win it. The other
Mm-hmm.
people that have won it, some of them, some big names like Bharat Biotech, they were a winner of
Yes.
Biorac. So
Mm-hmm.
we are in this. I mean, not the same category, but we won the same grant. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's our research strength, our
Mm-hmm.
network, and our relentless pursuit of solving mass ailments. I think those are
Mm-hmm.
the things that set us apart.
Yeah, thank and congratulations for that. And yeah, it is actually inspiring. And also coming to regulations. So in clinical trials and more like medication getting regulation, like that takes a lot of years. But now we have seen that vaccine production in COVID, like it can be done in emergency, this thing also. But still, the timeline is like down the line a lot of years. Like how was it with the Ayurvedic thing? Like was it just
So
is it the same or?
in classical formulations, we
Mhm.
are not required to do clinical trials, but we are undertaking
Okay.
clinical trials for
Mm-hmm.
Ayurvedic products as well. We have 3 of them that are about to commence. We've done 2. We'll publish them soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we believe in clinical validation. So while
Okay.
we are
Mhm.
solving, in fact, we've also constantly collecting data, especially on menstrual cramps, which is why
Okay.
we have these partnerships around the world, which is why we
Mm-hmm.
have partnerships with top, research bodies in India, is because
Mm-hmm.
we believe in clinical validation. That's where we're going for sure.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in like we have a lot of Ayurvedic settings in India. Like from Kerala, we have a lot of players in this field. But the crude extract and everything, like it has a certification, but still it's not in the standard trial process itself. So that's why I want to understand how you would be, getting the regulatory approval for that, and how is your products, into that, like
We'll, we'll, yeah, we'll share them in due course. But yeah, definitely polyherbal has its challenges in terms of clinical trial
Mhm.
when it's not a single molecule, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in due course, will make those clear. We're working with the top minds, obviously, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and globally there is now. If you look at it in the UK, they're looking at a full plant clinical trial because they understand cannabis is more than just one
Yeah,
molecule, right?
true.
So
Mm-hmm.
the world is changing towards providing for the patient what is best for them. So the pharma model of individual molecules is great, but I mean, at the end of the day, holistic has proven to be effective for long-term wellness, and I
True.
think end of the day, even clinical validation has to take into consideration what's best for the patients.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And also, like coming to as you have a lot of experience, in the initial phases and also HempStreet itself, and if you could share some most of the rewarding, like what was the most rewarding experience throughout your journey in this
I
HempStreet
think
itself?
I think two things. One is the validation of the doctors that we work with. When we get feedback, the efficacy and everything, it's amazing because I think they are the lifeblood of any
Okay.
patient activity or anything that makes a patient better. The second is the recognition we've got internationally. The fact that Ayurvedic cannabis today is on the global map because of us. It's talked about in the US. It is now
Right.
talked about in Israel. I think the fact that we've been able to bring our own to a industry that has been promoted elsewhere, right? I mean, we're holding our own. We're not trying to replicate. We're bringing value globally. And I think that's,
Right.
for us, something amazing.
Yeah, that's
And of
actually.
course, we receive a lot of feedback from patients. I mean, I'd love to share some voice messages and stuff. It's very
Uh-huh.
heartening to hear, especially from women who say they feel
Okay.
postmenopausal, they're able to sleep through the
Uh-huh.
night, they're dealing with
Okay.
menstrual cramps. I think that's been amazing.
That's really amazing, and thank you for sharing. And as a takeaway, I'd like to hear like 2 points from you for aspiring entrepreneurs and youngsters from your experience, please.
So I think one is don't be obsessive about your products. Be obsessed about solutions. Obsess about solutions. Like basically, if you in our field, obsess about solving ailments. Don't obsess about building products and trying to push it onto consumers. That's FMCG. We're in healthcare. So if it's in
Yeah.
healthcare, the health of the patient has to be supreme. One.
Mm-hmm.
Second is that while the path we may keep changing, challenges will keep coming up. Always have the end goal in mind, the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes your decision making much easier. If
Right.
you're saying, okay, what am I doing? What I'm doing now, is it the best for the patient? If it's not, then don't do it. And what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing now, is it for the long term? If it's not, then don't do
Okay.
it. So always think for
Mm-hmm.
the long term. And especially in India,
Mm-hmm.
build global institutions. I mean, we've not seen so many Indian companies,
Yeah.
despite the scale that we have, they all
Mm-hmm.
sell out, or we want to, focus on building global ones now. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek Mohan, for your time today, and it was really great interacting with you. Yeah, we'll surely meet in
It's
another
been a
session
pleasure.
of discussion. Thank you. Yeah, have a great day.
Thank you. All right. You too. Thanks.